mean, it only takes 80 of them to nominate her, and then Keir Starmer's finished.
He's said to be under threat from his very own cabinet. This time we're talking about Wes Streeting reportedly plotting a leadership challenge.
So Keir Starmer's premiership, they're saying, could be under threat, as Labour MPs are themselves reportedly plotting against his leadership.
Starmer is now facing a full-blown Labour power struggle, with MPs circling and whispers of forcing him out growing louder by the day. And the most dangerous part? This is coming inside his own party, where senior figures are already being discussed as possible replacements. Because in politics, the moment your own MPs start counting numbers, leaking plans, and imagining life after you, the crisis has already exploded.
Because the Health Secretary apparently has the support of over 81 MPs, and that is the minimum required to trigger a leadership election.
And this is where it gets dangerous. The name everyone is whispering is Wes Streeting, Health Secretary, Cabinet Minister, and according to reports Downing Street would rather you ignored, he's a man with a plan, a team, and a number that should worry Starmer's allies. That number is 81. 81 MPs reportedly aligned with Streeting's orbit. Think about what that means. That is not gossip. That is not ambition. That is arithmetic. In Westminster, arithmetic is a weapon. Once MPs start counting, the Prime Minister starts bleeding.
New reports that Andy Burnham has devised a plan that could see him back in Westminster within weeks.
Streeting is dangerous precisely because he is not screaming from the backbenches. He is inside the machine. He has cabinet status, he has media access, he has a clear policy platform, and a face the cameras love. He does not have to announce a challenge. He just has to exist, wait, and let the numbers speak for themselves. And they are speaking very loudly right now.
Well, I think if you've got 81 MPs, I think this is the significance of this rumour or exclusive that's come out in the Telegraph, is he can then trigger a leadership contest, plus if they get either 5% of the members or 3 affiliates. So this is kind of like a meaningful, amount of people that he's got as MPs that can actually deliver that. Angela Rayner would have to do the same if she wanted to run.
Then there is the 5 pillars leak. According to reports, this was not gossip shared over drinks. This was a structured strategy, 5 pillars, a framework, a direction, and it ended up in the wrong hands, or perhaps the right hands, depending on which side you are standing on. That detail is devastating for Starmer because it suggests Streeting's camp is not reacting to a crisis. It is preparing for one. While Downing Street struggles to control the narrative, someone nearby is already writing the next chapter.
In the wings, in the story in the iPaper, Kitty Donaldson's report, she talks about that according to internal Labour Party polling, the only potential candidate who might tickle the fancy of the voters is Andy Burnham. He's not even in Westminster. So it's one of those things where...
But it wouldn't be difficult for him to get into
Not at all. You need
because he's mayor. I know he's mayor.
No, I would have thought it would be very difficult.
Streeting publicly says he backs the Prime Minister. He has to say that. You cannot sit in cabinet and openly campaign for the top job. But here is the brutal truth. Denial in Westminster does not kill a story. Sometimes denial is exactly what confirms how dangerous the story has become. The question is no longer whether Streeting wants the job. The question is why MPs are openly discussing it at all. That conversation existing is already the crisis.
The magic number of 8-1 is all very important, and for those that want to spin rumours on behalf of others, that is a real significant milestone in their opinion. But this doesn't meet with political reality. As you've just said, there's only just been a general election. There's many years yet to go. There's a huge amount of issues and challenges facing the country. And let's all go inward, shall we, and have a leadership election in the run-up to the next party conference. It's completely bonkers.
Now bring in Andy Burnham, Greater Manchester Mayor, political survivor, emotional communicator, a man who built his reputation outside the Westminster bubble while the bubble collapsed around itself. Reports suggest Burnham is looking for a route back to Parliament, and Labour MPs in quiet corners are asking whether he is the rescue figure the party needs. Burnham has something Streeting does not: distance. He is not covered in the fingerprints of this government's mistakes. He can stand in front of voters and say he was out there doing the real work while London lost the plot.
Andy Burnham, he's apparently got mates who would step down so there could be a by-election which he'd be confident of winning, so he says, and apparently someone to step in to take over as Mayor of Greater Manchester. The problem is he's still got to get approval from the NEC, the governing body of the Labour Party, which is where he failed last time because they wouldn't do it.
But Burnham's road back is full of locked gates. He needs a Labour MP to step aside. He needs a by-election. He needs selection. He needs to win. And hovering over all of that is the NEC, Labour's National Executive Committee, which could block or allow every single step. If the NEC blocks Burnham, it looks like Starmer's allies are protecting the throne. If the NEC allows it, it looks like the party is quietly preparing for life after Starmer. There is no clean option. The process itself is the scandal.
A bit frustrated because we haven't had a proper survey of Labour Party members since February. But then it was Angela Rayner 60%, Wes Streeting 40%. I think that's a bit of a mountain for Wes Streeting to climb.
And then there is Angela Rayner. Do not make the mistake of thinking this is just a straight race between Streeting and Burnham. Rayner represents a completely different Labour, different energy, different base, different vision. Some MPs are not running towards Streeting because they love him. They are running toward him because they are terrified of what a Rayner leadership would look like. This is not just a personality contest. This is a factional war. The soul of the Labour Party is the actual prize on the table.
I think she's fantastic. I think she's a great politician. She's got a much better feel for politics than many of her former cabinet colleagues, including the Prime Minister. But she was not a success as a minister. She hardly built any of those 1.5 million houses. She virtually crushed the private rented sector with well-meaning but...
So why is this happening now? Why not wait? Because MPs do not wait for perfect timing when they think their seats are on the line. Labour won a landslide. But with a massive majority comes a massive expectation. And if voters feel nothing has changed, those same seats that Labour swept can sweep back just as fast. MPs with small margins are already looking at polling with cold sweats. Leadership speculation before a general election is not strategy. It is panic dressed up as planning.
But everything they
It's
touch
just
just
gone
turns to ash. And it's one of those things where obviously these problems predate the Labour government. The British state is in a terrible way. You know, ministers get in, they pull levers, nothing happens. That's been a big problem for a long time.
The local elections are the trigger point everyone is watching. These are not just about councils and mayors. They are a verdict, a brutal, public, unignorable verdict on whether Labour voters still believe in this government. If the results are bad, the rebels will not need a memo or a meeting. They will have evidence, hard numbers, public rejection, and Starmer's allies will say midterm pressure is normal. But the rebels will say this is not pressure. This is collapse.
But when you made your whole pitch on we're here to clean up the mess, we're here to sort out these problems, and yet all you seem to do is produce more problems, then the electorate are going to turn on you quite quickly.
Here is what makes Starmer's position uniquely fragile. He won power without defining what that power was for. A landslide should create momentum, should generate a political story that carries a government forward. Instead, critics describe drift, caution, management. The word change was on every Labour poster, but voters sitting at kitchen tables with bills they cannot pay are asking where the change actually is. Pragmatism is a governing style, but taken too far, pragmatism looks like having no position at all, and MPs cannot defend a government they cannot explain.
Who's been absolutely vicious about Keir Starmer for months and months and saying he's completely finished and he must go at once.
The leaks are making everything worse. Every internal document that escapes Downing Street is not an accident. Leaks are aggression. They are a signal that people inside the building no longer fear the person running it. When discipline breaks, authority breaks with it. And right now, the leaks are constant. The 5 Pillars document, briefings about succession timelines, whispers about September. Every one of those stories forces Starmer into a defensive crouch at the exact moment he needs to look commanding.
Interestingly as well, though, Keir Starmer today will go on, he's pre-recorded it, on Radio 4 on the Today programme, and say that he will be leading the country into the next election, whenever that is.
We heard that from people before.
Oh, we have.
Yeah. I suppose he can't say anything other than that, though. If he went, well, you know what, it's not looking great, then that would be such a catastrophe.
You want to know the cruelest part of this? Starmer can say he is staying. He can say it confidently, directly, on camera, with a straight face. And it means almost nothing. Because the fact he has to keep saying it tells you exactly what is happening underneath. The ground is shifting. His own people know it. Rival camps know it. And you know it now too. Repeating, "I am not going anywhere," is not a strength. In Westminster, it is a countdown.
Everyone wants to be known as the...
There's a lot of jockeying
Yes.
for position, isn't there?
Yeah.
And apparently Keir Starmer will also talk about his the fact he was voted in on a manifesto of change, which when I thought about it, I was thinking, I wonder if that's why you think...
Things have changed.
Well, yes. Did he mean, when he said it was a manifesto of change, that he could just change the manifesto after he got in? Because that seems to be, to me, what happened. But I'd misunderstood the manifesto of change all along.
Yes, there you go.
Some inside Labour are already debating exit theories. A managed handover, a dignified departure before things get worse. A moment where Starmer steps back on his terms rather than being pushed. But a managed handover brings its own disaster. The second that theory becomes public, every minister is being viewed as a potential successor. Every interview becomes a quiet audition. Every policy announcement gets buried under the question nobody is supposed to ask. Starmer would not be governing. He would be waiting to leave.
I mean, I don't think Keir Starmer has been a successive Prime Minister, but...
And if a new Labour leader did take over, let us be clear, there is no automatic general election. A new Labour leader could walk into number 10 and govern without asking the public for permission. Opponents would call it illegitimate. Labour would call it democracy. And voters, already frustrated, would be furious. The political explosion from that scenario would be unlike anything this Parliament has seen.
But now he says he's got an impressive candidate lined up in the wings for that.
But there still have to be an election.
There would, and this is the debate that would go on. But you only have to change a couple of people's minds on that NEC, which, given the way politics moves at pace...
This is the picture. Streeting has the seat and the numbers. Burnham has the brand and the distance. Rayner has the base and the fire. The NEC has the gatekeeping power. Backbench MPs have the fear and the motive. And Starmer has the title, but is fighting every single day to hold on to the authority that should come with it. The succession battle does not need to formally begin to do its damage. The damage is already here. The rivals have been named. The numbers have been floated. The exit theories are circulating. Cabinet loyalty is under open suspicion. And Downing Street is no longer just governing Britain. It is defending itself from the people it brought to power.